makes movies too now? Yeah, I heard so too. Awesome. Okay, let's just see. I just deleted all the videos that I recorded previously, but my faith is really being shaken by life itself. I mean, just don't get me wrong. I was at ayahuasca ceremonies and I saw how my life could look like. How I would turn into someone like Terence McKenna. How I would go to Amsterdam. How I would hold speeches. How I would talk to the public about, right, maybe fear, because that's what I've been trained in. Now I've got all this conscious knowledge, you know. I'm not saying that other people don't have this kind of knowledge. I'm just saying that I'm conscious of it. I can access it almost at will. You say something to me, I start talking. You know, I can write you a book about any topic if I want to write it. You know, that's a gift that not everybody has. And this gift, you know, I wanted to use it to make content, and I have. And I thought, well, that's gonna be it then. You know, I'm just gonna make content for the rest of my life and I'm gonna earn a living with it. And it looked like heaven. But then as I started to continue on this journey, I realized, where's the money? You know, I thought I'd be like, you know, oh, thank you, you are our savior now. You're doing such a good job with YouTube, you know. You just, you know, it's like really like conscious stuff and great depth, and you know, I did all of this art. Sure, I'm really impatient. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm one of the most impatient people, even without coffee, even without any of that stuff. I'm just really, really impatient. And I realized that when I record things and I talk about things, that sure, to a certain degree I have no idea what I'm talking about, because, well, actually I do, because I'm living it. I mean, what's spirituality? It's life. And life in itself is the challenge. You know, that's what you're here to master. And when you realize that you have potential, then you are the one who has to do something with that potential. I mean, I see a lot of people and I speak with women, you know, actually one childhood friend, and she has a bit of a similar problem. Like, she's got a lot of potential, but all the men that she meets are just inadequate. And I'm not saying that in a, you know, inadequate in what way? Well, because she's quite tough, right? She's got a lot of spunk. But all the men that she meets just don't match her. And I think that's a problem. And I have the feeling I have the same thing. You know, I either think women are too much, or I'm not enough, or I think, you know, she's not enough for me. And I have certain anchor points where I can literally say, you know, this woman I liked, you know, this I liked about this woman, but these parts I didn't like. So I always have certain things that I say, you know, this is good and this is not good. So I'm trying to create someone that to me seems like the perfect catch. But I'm not really fussy about, you know, I don't really care. Okay, you should have manners. You know, that's like a very straightforward one. I mean, I don't want to go, you know, at least you should know how to hold a fork, all right? You know, I don't want to get sick if I see you eating, because I've had that experience. I've seen somebody eat in front of me and she had no manners whatsoever. Her whole face was covered in sauce, and I was like, okay, that's actually disgusting. And that was the first time I saw somebody eating, and I started to like, I don't easily do that, but I did. Right, I did. And so there are a few things, right? I mean, you know, you don't have to dress like overly elegant. I think it's all right if you dress you know, the way you like it, but presentable. You know, I had a girlfriend once, and she used to, you know, she just walked around in jogging pants, and that's when you start to think like, what the fuck, like why do I have to deal with this shit now? You know, is this, you know, but that's a clear sign, you know, I'm unhappy. You know, if your partner doesn't even dress up for this relationship you're having, yeah, I mean, you either have to put in some work now, or you just have to stop. Because if I end up living my life in just sweatpants, I might as well leave for good, you know, because if you just walk around in sweatpants, I mean, there just seems to be nothing that I seem to trigger in you. And, you know, that's what I'm trying to make sure of, that I don't fall for a woman that's gonna end up like this. And to be honest, I've talked a lot. This is one of the most important topics in my life since probably I was born. I was already looking for a girl when I was in 2nd grade. You know, I was already pressing girls into the wardrobe in kindergarten and started kissing them. I always thought it was because my father told me. I think I did that because I wanted to know, you know, who is it? Who is it going to be? And that's the, you know, the kind of spiritual truth that, you know, if you come here and you start, you know, you just have a desire. You don't know where that desire is coming from. There's not like, you know, I cannot consciously tell you then at the age of 4, you know, why are you pressing girls into the wardrobe? And you just kiss them, you know, they don't like this. And then you say, yeah, well, yeah, I'm sorry. And then you think it's something bad. Maybe it is. Well, at least I didn't really get herpes, right? Because I stopped, you know. I was making sure that the woman also wants it. And maybe that made me a little bit hesitant, but I don't think so. And do you know why? Because if I overwhelm a woman and I go there and I kiss her and like lift her off her feet, what does that mean? That means she never worked for this relationship. That means I will have to do this for the rest of my life. And I probably won't be able to do that ever. because I lost interest in women that are like this. I lost complete interest in women that want me to run after them and please them into liking me, right? Like I have to do, I have to always walk the extra mile. I always have to walk the extra mile so that you want to spend time with me. I got sick of it. I got sick of it to the point of, I just stopped completely. I was running after women as long as I can remember, always sending them texts, and then they told me I don't want it. And then I said, well, but why not? You said you wanted it at first, and now you suddenly don't want it anymore? It's like, what's the deal with that? First you say you want it, and then you say you don't want it. Like, I don't understand. Where is this now coming from, right? We get together, you act like you like me, and then a couple of weeks into this thing, suddenly you don't like me anymore. How am I supposed to deal with this now? Am I supposed to change now? Am I willing to change for this relationship? Or should I simply, I don't know, it's really hard to say. There are no rules in this kind of life. What I mean is there are no real, like there are no prescriptions for me. Young man, to some possibly handsome, to others probably completely disgusting because his beard might be full of fungi. That's actually what some women said to me. You should shave off your beard because it's very unhygienic. It's like, all right, I think we're not gonna kiss then. Because if that's your opinion, like the first time we meet, then I think we're not gonna kiss ever. And I can't help it, I just don't like soap. I just think soap turns me into somebody else. I like doing what I'm doing while I'm doing it, and sometimes I don't like it, right? And that's also something maybe that you have in relationships, that sometimes you just don't like your life at all. Sometimes you just hate it, and sometimes you just hate everyone in it. And I'm really trying to figure out what's it gonna be, right? It's like, I'm just gonna hate it all the way, or just parts of it. Now, my SD card just had an error twice. It's just about truth. This is how I feel. I've been trying to speak truth to one woman specifically. I've mentioned her numerous times. She's basically appeared everywhere. And every time I met another woman, I saw her in it. That's never happened to me. Every woman that I meet looks a bit like her. Because I'm actually looking for her, I just can't find her. And then the question is, am I really looking for this woman? Or do I just think I'm looking for her and it's actually somebody I've never met? It's a possibility. It's a very true possibility. All I know is that I basically stay away from most women that I see, especially women that have these longing eyes. When I realize, I think I'm too far away, Not far, not in sense of, I'm not better. I'm just further away. I'm just far away from where I think you are. And that's, when you talk about stages in life, you also have to consider not only age, but also experiences. What does it mean? Right, I have certain set of experiences. I've lived abroad, in Africa. I've studied monkeys. I ran in African savanna. I, touched giant snakes. I got very close to very big crocodiles. like 4-meter crocodiles. You know, I smoke cannabis. I like smoking cannabis. I like psychedelics to a certain degree. You know, I'm who I am. I am who I am, right? I figured that one out. And I'm looking for a woman that would fit into this life. And I thought, or think, or feel, or may have found someone where I think she might have fit. But the further I live my life, and she's just completely elsewhere, I just start looking for somebody else because, sorry, but that's just bullshit. You know, I cannot live my life like this, just waiting for somebody to come to me because there's this promise, you know, maybe one day. You know, I'm just gonna move on now. And that's for me a really hard step. You know, I've been trying to stay away from such choices for probably about 1.5 years. And now I'm finally getting down to it. You know, I'm not sure yet. You know, I think I'm going to the Boulder Hall to ask for a job. But it's not set into stone, right? So, you know, you'll know later what I did in the end. You know, or I'll know, which is already a comforting thought for myself. All right, you know, I'm just stalling for time. I'm just talking about what I feel like is going on. You know, I think a lot of people are struggling and they actually want a relationship, but they just don't find anybody that can give them what they feel they need to grow up, right? And, you know, that's like a hard one. And I think we all know how that feels. That you keep jumping from one relationship to the next and you overexert yourself with all of them because, you know, you always tell yourself, you know, that's it now. You know, that's it. You know, that's it. That's the relationship I wanted. You know, that's the relationship I wanted. You know, I'm going all out now. I'm going all out now. And then in the end, you may meet someone, and that someone is who you thought you liked. And then suddenly that person is gone, and you've got nothing to hold on to. Maybe you just saw someone, and then that person just left, you know, vanished over the horizon. And then you have this very strong feeling like, I think she was the one, or he was the one. You know, that was the woman of my dreams, or the man of my dreams. I think with that person, and maybe you didn't just meet. Maybe you had like 2 or 3 weeks together. Or maybe a couple of weeks, right? You know, it's possible. And this time you spent with each other was so nice for you. That's always what you have to stress out. For you, it was super nice for you. And then suddenly that person is gone and you start thinking about, oh, so nice, and you start romanticizing. But my point is always, I don't know how the other person felt about it. I don't know how the other person felt about it. Because I may be honest about how I feel. If I like someone, I'm gonna say it, you know. I don't know why, but I really like you, you know. I say these things. But the female counterpart just says nothing. Or they just say, oh yeah, that's nice, right? It's like, I just told you I really like you. But when I asked for your number, you said, just wait till we meet. It's like, wait a second. You're playing fate with this? Like, I'm not important enough for you to make this a done deal? Like to say, you know, let's just get this over with. You know, I think we like each other. We can work something out. You know, it's like, I just don't want to try anymore, if you know what I mean. You know, there's a woman, she says something. I ask her, do you want to spend time with me? She comes, you know, she looks nice, presentable, has a nice body. I like the way she looks. You know, I have the feeling there's some kind of conversation going on. You know, I don't really know what she's talking about, and maybe she doesn't know what I'm talking about, but I'm sure we can find common ground physically. You know, there was a bit of romance, you know, me like sitting behind, and there was the moon, and you know, that should be an experience that's either, oh wow, you know, I'm looking for that guy, I want him, you know, I'm hunting you. Or it's like, fucking hell, that guy was awful. I mean, he just talked for 2 hours straight. Like, we were hiking for 2 hours during the full moon. And the way I felt about it was, you know, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to think. Because most people that I meet, they're so secretive with their emotions. They don't tell you, you know, they don't tell you if they hate you, and they don't tell you if they like you. So you're completely hanging in the air. So all that's left is that you know that you like yourself, right? I mean, that's like the best I can give you. I think I just like myself then. Because everybody I try to like just leaves or suddenly stays silent, just says nothing anymore, you know? Yeah. Just leave me alone, right? That kind of stuff. And I think, what does that mean? Why do I have to leave you alone? Like, why can't we just have a conversation or make up, you know? You know, if a man and a woman make up, it's like very nice. Like, why is that too much for you? You know, can't you just say no? Or can't you just say yes? Why do you have to play your stupid little games? You know, why can't you just be honest about this is what I want? And now I thought, right, I'm just gonna devote myself to art because I fell in love with this woman, you know, and I thought, well, that just really pushed me because a woman is a muse, sure, you know, and that just really pushed me. And I thought, you know, I can really build myself a life now. Well, I'm walking to the boulder hall and I'm trying to see if the boss is there. I mean, that's my outfit. You know, that's how you go and apply for a job in the boulder hall, hopefully. You know, I'm gonna mention that I have shoes, of course, which I do, although I am reluctant to wear them, but I have no problem with wearing them. Because what I realized is money just isn't coming yet. So I have the potential for passive income, but that's all it is, you know, it's like very passive. You know, I want an active income. And, you know, maybe later I'm gonna make money with YouTube because my style apparently is very specific and I feel like I'm just running out of time. You know, this is like, you know, the door is closing panic that people say women have. You know, women say, you know, not women say, but how you see it with women, you know, they get afraid that they're gonna get too old to have children and have a family. Now, my question is to anyone who's listening to this and who's struggling to find someone that they love, right? How important is it to you that this person is gonna be a certain way? How important is it to you that this person would meet? Now I can extend it because there's less people walking around here. Like, how important is it to you that, you know, how many of your standards that may be ridiculous, it's just your standards, you know, how important is it to you that your partner is gonna match all of them? You know, I feel like I've been trained in holding ceremonies. I've been trained. I mean, I know how to do mushrooms alone in the forest. And I thought what I need is a woman that can do the same. And now I start to think, well, maybe it's not so sure. Maybe I thought I was looking for something, and maybe now it's time to open up for something else. And now I have a problem. A very strong problem. Because I feel like I'm still in love with that other woman. Like I'm still in that love with the woman that I met a couple of years ago, like last year, and that I slept with. And for whatever reason, I thought I really liked her. Like I really liked her. It just, I tried telling her, it just came out in a very weird and angry way. It's like, because I was so afraid to lose her, basically, that I think I just lost her. I really lost her. And everything that I thought that she was, I had to admit to myself at a certain point, was just a complete fabrication. Because I never tried to get closer with her. I just tried to keep her away as far as possible. And then I thought, well, if she really loves me, she's gonna make an effort to come back to me. Well, about a year later, with no contact at all, nothing happened. I kept sending her messages, and she said, well, what am I supposed to say to you? I thought, well, just fucking something. Well, what I learned from this, you cannot make someone love you. You can invite them to love you. You can say, hey, I'm open for love, want to come? But that's where it's a bit controversial, because there's women that really want you to go for them, right? To conquer them. And then you try it, even from a distance, and they just say nothing. And I'm sorry, right? It's like, I'm not a douche, but I'm also not an idiot. And you can't just screw around with me. I mean, alright, if you think this just isn't it, I'll just accept it. I'll just accept it. This just isn't it. And that's a hard one to swallow when you thought that that's it. Now the question is, are you gonna be afraid that time's gonna run out? Are you going to hold on to this woman even though she actually doesn't want it? Well, it's impossible to pin her down if she's not here. Maybe you met once, you had sex once. Well, so I did with a dozen other women, and none of them are still around. None of them are still a part of my life. And I'm not getting any younger, if you know what I mean. I want to build a family for myself. And I realized I like climbing. And I like walking to the boulder hall. I have a very specific way of life. And I thought, well, I need a woman that can, catch up with me. That can hold her ground, that can, do these things together. I thought, well, I'm just gonna earn a lot of money with YouTube and all of these things, and then both of us will be free, and we can then, I don't know, buy some kind of restaurant, or just buy a piece of land and build our own place. And I already started creating this in my mind, and then I realized all the women I meet are just bitches. I mean, I'm not saying bitch in a way that they don't have to necessarily just fuck around, but, they don't take shit from men anymore. Nothing. Not even like a little inch. Nothing. And then I think, yeah, alright, but how are you ever going to survive marriage if you can't take shit from anyone? And maybe I can take shit. I can take a lot of shit. You know, I just say it then. You know, I take the shit and then I say, you just gave me that. Of course, if you're gonna be pregnant and giving birth, you know, I'm not gonna tell you that you were just rude to me. Yeah, I'll tell you later. But I'm just saying, you know, I'm at this stage of my life where I just really don't want to commit to anyone anymore that doesn't come at least partly into my direction. And now I'm again at this point, and it pisses me off, where I feel like, you know, I have to ask for a job. I'm walking to the boulder hall now to ask for a job, although I don't want to. So why am I doing this again? You know, I thought I was gonna be free with what I'm doing. And in a way I am free, but I'm not, right? I'm not earning the money that I thought I would. And you cannot say that I'm simply impatient, because, you know, I suggest that Chris Webster, you know, however his story sounds like, but he earned money on the side. You know, I assume that he was, wow, I think he just lost something. I assume that he was selling weed from what I hear in his music. So, you know, I'm not gonna sell weed, and nobody wants to hire me for spiritual transformation. So I have to be honest, I just don't want to do this shit anymore. I don't want to hold ceremonies. I don't want to help people to find healing. Not in the way that, you know, I'm gonna do ceremonies. You know, I want to be more like Terence McKenna. And I'm not saying that because I hate people. I'm saying that because I hate people. You know, I really don't like people anymore. And I never liked them, to be honest. I always liked to do my own thing. And I like to walk on my own. So in a way, maybe I just wanted to give someone what they wanted, and I lost myself in it. And maybe she just felt so lost that I just wanted to love her, like really love her. And then I realized, yeah, fuck it. And I don't have a problem to share this with anyone. You know, I can go for a hike all the time basically and only talk about this, because this is what's driving me around the entire day. You know, I always continuously think about this woman, and it's making me sick. Like there's some kind of connection that I don't understand. And some people talk about twin flames or something, and maybe that's what this is. But if that's it, you know, fuck it. I'm gonna leave this shit. I've tried before, but now I'm determined, you know? Now I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna get out of this shithole, and I'm just going to settle down for some kind of normal relationship, or I'm just gonna stay alone. And maybe I just have to have someone that I can fuck around with, and that wants to fuck around with me, and maybe out of fucking around, you know, springs some kind of, you know, fountain of love, and the desire to have a child together, and to, I don't know what, but, you know, there needs to be also freedom, right? I mean, I realize it's not about just taking psychedelics all the time, but psychedelics are still a part of my life. And if the woman doesn't like it, well, the least thing she can do is, you know, not annoy me when I want to take maybe a day off, go to the woods, and just let off some steam. Sure, you could let off some steam by having sex. Well, that's the other part. I don't want to be too dependent on women anymore. Which is why, sure, you know, I can go and work. You know, what is even the purpose of having a relationship these days? You know, it's like, oh, I think we would really look good together. It's like, you know, that would really boost my Instagram likes. You know, if I could, you know, shoot footage with a sexy woman in the background. You know, that's what that guy does, who goes snorkeling in the ocean. And apparently his wife or his girlfriend, you know, she just wears the tightest swimwear. And he gets a lot of clicks for that. You know, I just say that guy's a complete idiot. You know, why would you do something like this? Why would you expose your wife because you got nothing to sell? Sure, sex sells, and I could sell you sex, you know. I could like be super naked or something, and maybe I'm already sexy just by walking around here. But you know, I have a feeling that, you know, I just don't want to sell myself to anyone. And so I think I can go to the boulder hall and ask for a job, you know, if the manager is there. Of course, if he isn't, well, too bad, right? Of course, I could also just go hiking, but I feel like I have an open invitation from one of the boulders, and you know, I really think it makes me really sad, to be honest, to think that the woman that I met and where I said the next woman I sleep with, you know, I've said this before, is gonna be my wife, and then I slept with a woman and I had a good feeling, and it just didn't work out, apparently. You know, that's just what I'm left with. It's this feeling of, wow, you know, I'm literally on the verge of losing all hope in myself, right? I feel so destroyed. But I actually also know how to build myself up, right? I only speak with certain people. I have no sex. I learn how to deal with my own shit. You know, I cannot say what's real, because spirituality, you know, it's not about what you can touch. It's about what you can feel. And all I know is that I feel deep love for the woman, you know, I've been talking about a lot. And if I start talking about her, I already start to smile. And that's driving me insane, like really insane. Because there's nothing to hold on to. There's nothing to grab. You know, there's just this empty space that I tried to fill. And now I realize, well, my parents are paying my apartment and there's no money coming in from book sales. You know, maybe I really need a job and to earn money. But now we have other questions that need to be answered. In terms of, my parents said, we're gonna pay you an apartment. And then they paid it. And now I'm living in it. And now the question is, they said, we have an apartment for you and we're gonna pay it. They said that. Now the question remains, how am I supposed to react to this? In terms of, I'm looking for a job now. Do I need to do 40 hours a week? Could I do 20? Could I start with 20? Wow. Now I just stop my foot when I say, could I do 20? Because that just makes me an asshole. It's like saying, hey, I take the apartment, but you have to keep paying it. You know, I'm just gonna do 20 hours. I think it's time to pull my own weight. I don't want to, but if I don't do that, I'm just gonna wither away. Because I need something to do. I need to spend time with people. Because when I'm alone at home, all I do is just, you know, make movies, watch Avatar, listen to music, eat, you know, take a shit. and then I masturbate. Well, I masturbate to images, which strictly speaking is not really porn, but it's still pornographic material. If you take a GIF, it's basically like a short movie, right? It's like a couple of frames and then turn into some kind of image. And I mean, what kind of an existence is this? This kind of internet, you know, what I would suggest to basically anyone who wants to live this kind of YouTube thing. And I've seen this in more people than just myself. You know, I'm not the only one who's running out of ideas, who gets sick of doing this. And why? Because to me, in a way, it's also a trap. You know, unless you can expand and you can actually incorporate other people and say, hey, you know, we could start making movies together and I'm gonna pay you. We could start making movies together and I'm gonna pay you. But for that I need money. And when I have the money, I can do something with that. But I first need money. And then I could ask other people, hey, maybe there's a project we can do together. But who knows? You know, I thought I was just being given because I followed truth and I was working hard and I created all of this stuff to free myself and to help others to free themselves, possibly by listening to what I had to say. Oh wow, that's what you all did to free yourself? I mean, that's insane. And now I actually feel free, finally, to go and ask for another job. You know, I don't know what that means, because I still feel this incredible love for that woman. And what I don't know is whether this love is actually, you know, why am I feeling this? Am I feeling it because there's love between us and there's a bond? Is this love coming from her? You know, or am I just in love? You know, is this like a single, you know, is this like one directional love? You know, I don't know this. All I know is there's an incredible amount of love, and that seems to be the fountain that I take all of this art from. Because before I met this woman, I never wanted to do art. But when I met her, I suddenly started to explode out of myself. And you know, I cannot explain this to you. And I thought, you know, if I just show it to everyone, you know, and I sent her 2 of my books, right? I sent her 2 of my books and I said, here you have it. Here you have it, you know, take it. And she just said nothing to it. And the last thing she said to me was, I have nothing to say to you anymore. And then, you know, I start flipping this around in my head. You know, I cling to anything she said when we met, you know, to anything. But I've got nothing, to be honest. I've got nothing, because anything she said, you know, she might have just said for unknown reasons. You know, she might have just said these things, but she actually meant someone else. And I mean, it's like, this is mental. This is driving me nuts, me specifically. And because I want to love that woman and I love her, but I don't know how. Maybe I just love her like a daughter, right? Maybe I just love her like a sister. Or maybe, right? I mean, you can love people in all kinds of ways, and few of them that I ever met were actually the kind of women where I think, you know, I can love you for the rest of my life. I thought she was the one where I would manage, but what I realized is it's not working. I need a woman to also love me back, because I cannot do this shit on my own. And that's what I've realized, because a family needs to hold together. And if I were to be a family with someone, that's, you know, always with one foot out of the relationship because they're actually looking for someone else or for something else, or because they're afraid to open up, you know, then I can be as stubborn as I want to be. You know, I will always feel like the love is slipping away from me, and I don't want that. You know, I want a safe deal. I want, you know, we can do this together, and that's, I don't know why this is so hard this time. Now, I'm literally close to tears, even when I just open up to letting go. And then I think, wait, is this me now? Or is it this woman? You know, where does the sadness come from? Why do I feel so sad about letting her go? Why do I feel so sad about letting her go? You could say, well, because you popped her cherry. Well, what does it mean I popped your cherry? You know, if I pop someone's cherry, what does that mean? You know, it's like every time I get like these messages that sound very wise, or right, it's like there's a certain insight, you know, it looks like truth, but then it's like empty. You know, there's actually empty wisdom where you say, yeah, but what the fuck does it mean? You know, it's like you popped her cherry and, you know, there's millions of cherries being popped. Did I spiritually awaken her? Did I send her out into the world to become strong and she will one day come back to me? Do I have to chase her, follow her, and look for her? Because that's why she's hiding, because she wants me to stand up to her. No, I don't fucking know. All I know is that I'm hitting a wall here, and that I have to climb now. I have to climb over the wall. And the only way I can see myself managing that is by going and earning some money, which I tried to refuse because I thought I was too good to work in such a way, not because I studied. That actually never made me feel like, you know, I'm too good for work. It's because I just value myself a lot, and it's super frustrating if you realize that nobody can share this with you. Like, I have a lot of value for myself, but nobody that I meet seems to share this with me. And that's what I like, it really pisses me off. That I have a lot of self-value, but nobody who's willing to invest into me and say, you know what, you're nice, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get you back. Well, all you would have to do is send me a bloody email, you know, because even if another woman would come now, I would probably say, yeah, sorry, I'm still waiting for someone. You know, before I meet her, I can't be sure, but you know, emotionally, there's nobody home anymore. You know, who I think I fell in love with doesn't exist anymore. And whatever I think or feel about her, I have to be honest about this, it's just a fabrication. You know, it's just something I create in my mind. And when I say these things, I start like there's something female, like my feminine opposite is stirring inside of me and gets angry when I say such things. And then I think, wait, am I just recording this to tease her? Am I just saying these things to tease her? Am I just getting a job to surround myself with beautiful women that all want to have sex with me, you know, supposedly, because I just want to tease her? Because if there is such thing as a twin flame, and if there is such thing as like this kind of deep spiritual connection where your spirit and the spirit of another person, you know, let's say woman in my case, is like, you know, touches you on such a deep level, you don't even understand why. You know, it's like, this feels like we're meant for each other. And then you think, well, you know, but maybe not in worldly terms. Maybe not physically made for each other, because if I feel into it now, it's gone. If I feel into this now, it's gone. She used to have an Instagram page, that's gone as well. Right, there's nothing new coming on her podcast, so to me, she might actually have died. And that's what you know, that's how I have to live now. To me, she's dead. Because life happens where you are. And I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of this for obvious reasons. You know, I've opened myself a couple of times. I got punched in the face. Now you meet someone and I hear it with other people, right? Like, I've been speaking with my cousin about this. And she seems to have similar problems with finding a man that just like fulfills her. And I thought I was that for this woman, and then I realized I think I'm not. You know, I thought I was that, and then I wasn't. So that happened already, you know, 13 times or something. And then at one point you just say, so what? You know, just fuck it, you know? If it's meant to be, it's gonna happen in one way or another. You know, form is an illusion. You know, so if I see a woman that looks like this and I think, oh wow, she's sexy and super nice, you know, maybe she's gonna reappear in a different form. And here I was all the time waiting for this one form to come back. And I just have to walk here. It looks so beautiful, and I think, well, maybe I'm gonna meet someone else now. But the problem is that I sometimes feel like, or that I'm afraid of, that I feel such great love for this woman, I don't want to be with anybody else. You know, there's a possibility. And that I would always give this other woman the feeling, you know, that I'm actually already gone. You know, I'm already somewhere else. Which is why I'm reluctant to ask for a job. Which brings me back to the whole point of going to the Boulder Hall today. Which actually go there and ask for a job, which I don't really want to do. Why am I doing it then? Because I think it's the necessary step now. I just have to move on. Because I've waited for a year. I've waited for more than a year for her. You know, it doesn't matter what kind of emails I sent you. If you want me, you're gonna respond. If you want me, you're gonna fucking respond. If you don't respond, you don't want me. Then you just wanted a cock, right? You just wanted somebody to give you an orgasm. Well, then you can just, you know, crawl around for dicks all your life. But then it wasn't me that you wanted, because if it would have been me that you wanted, then you would have made an effort to tell me. Then you would have said, you know, I really want you. Why don't you get it? Well, because that's just bullshit. Because if you can't tell me that you want me, even after I have told you that I want you, then everything you say is just a pile of shit. Then it's just a pile of shit. It's just a bunch of lies. You know, you thought maybe whatever. You know, it doesn't matter. What matters is you have to make a choice. And I just keep having these conversations with my cousin, and it just pisses me off. And I just want to get this over with. Right? I just want to settle down. Maybe I don't have to settle down forever. Maybe I just have to settle down for a while. And maybe, you know, all of this, you know, spiritual advisor, maybe all of this, you know, I'm traveling the world and giving speeches about fear. You know, maybe that's gonna come later in 20 years. Maybe it's gonna come in 30 years. And maybe it's never gonna come, because maybe I avoided that fate. maybe I saw it could happen and I just did my podcast, wrote a book about fear, and just got it out of the way, right? Maybe that's how it's going to be. It's possible. It's likely, because anything can happen at any time, you know. A car could stop now, and, you know, a woman could step out and say, I've been looking for you, and now I've finally found you. And maybe just because I said it now, it's not gonna happen, right? You know, there's always a possibility that simply because you say something out loud, it's not gonna happen. Because all you do is basically nourish your fear. Or it's actually different, right? Maybe it's different. Maybe because I've said it, it can happen. And I'm gonna have it on camera and I'm gonna be like, hey, this is the woman I was talking about, you know? So I don't really know what's happening. I don't really know what's happening. I know that I want internet so that I can continue to share my dream with as many people as I can find. But for that, I feel like I have to earn money now, because I want to go shopping and pay the bill myself, right? I want to go shopping and pay the bill myself because I'm sick of living like this. I've tried this, you know, just building on trust. Yeah, but every day is a fucking hellhole and nothing is changing. So if nothing changes, I have to change. I have to introduce change, and maybe after 3 months, right, you know, they're gonna release another propaganda wave of Corona and just say, you know, well, you all have to get vaccinated again, you know, and then I'm done. And, you know, it's unlikely that saying it 1 hour into the video is gonna get me banned. And the only people that are gonna listen to this are the ones that were meant to hear it. Because, you know, I just don't want to get vaccinated ever. And so if they're trying to force me, you know, I'm just gonna stay away. But now I have a problem. Now I have a real big fat problem. You know what the problem is? Now suddenly I have an apartment that I think I have to pay. Which means, you know, I didn't really ask for this, but I was being given one. And the question is, do I have to tell my parents if I get a job? Because if I get a job now and I work for money, what does that mean? Well, it means that if something happens, I have to make sure that I keep working at all costs so that I can pay the apartment. And I'm hesitant to do that, to be honest. Already thinking about it makes me feel nauseous, because I don't want to be forced into working. But at the same time, I just want to stay away from my apartment, right? I just want to have certain times in the week, you know, because everything is just the same shit. Everything's just the same shit. So I may as well change something. But it's an act of faith, right? Because if I choose now to work there, it may alter the entire course of my life. I may meet someone, we may fall in love, and then this other woman comes and suddenly I'm like, you know, now I'm taken. And I'm not sure if I am ready to do that. I think I'm ready. Wait. But I've been waiting for her, and she never came back. Yeah, I just did that because it was stuck in my nose. It was not like, no, I'm crying about it. You know, this could be the view. You know, I could see this every day, I think. You know, it's also a bit of very humbling to go and ask for a job in the Boulder Hall, I think it's very humbling. You know, it's good for you. You know, it's like, I think you need this. And then, you know, why can't this be the way I thought it might be? And maybe it is, right? Maybe it is. Maybe I'm going there because what I realized is that if you're not meant to be with someone, it just won't happen. You know, I've tried being with someone in the cinema when I was working there. You know, I thought she looked sexy, but it pretty quickly became very apparent that we don't match. Like, I mean, I'm not saying this in a way that, you know, we don't match just with our hobbies. It's just like there is something like energy. There is something like something deep in all of us. And, you know, you could call this like a pole, you know, like a magnetic pole, like an energy field. And if you're vibrating on a whole different level, you know, you can actually repulse each other. And maybe you only repulse each other for a certain amount of time. And maybe the reason you repulse each other is because, you know, you just need to be pushed into somebody else. You know, I can't say. You know, I don't know what's good anymore. I don't know what's bad. You know, I don't really know what love is, to be honest. Because the idea of having family and children just to me seems like very ridiculous. Like, you know, I'm not a bad guy, but everybody always makes me look like that, you know, starting from my parents, everybody in my family, you know, they just make me look like an asshole. You know, when I was struggling with suicidal thoughts and I went and told my parents and I said, you know, I have like suicidal thoughts. You know, I said it quite casually, but I had them, and I'm sure a lot of people have them. And then my sister said, you know, that was selfish. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Well, that was selfish. Like, you know what would have been selfish? If I would have killed myself. You know, I said this, I think, you know, I'm a cheeky bastard. Because a part of me was smiling about it. And I think I wanted certain things to happen in my life. I just wanted to teach people a lesson. And I'm not sure what this is about. You know, I think I have to teach whatever I think this woman was or is. I feel like I have to teach her a lesson. So, and even if the lesson is, you know, fuck it. But I still don't like this idea. Because it just sounds so stupid to do something like this. I mean, to go so far as to sleep with another woman just to teach the one that you actually love, you know, you cannot keep me away from, you know, I'm just gonna do it. Because if I sleep with another woman now, I think it's just gonna be over. Because, so, you know, if I'm still, you know, I feel like there's something, how can I just sleep with another woman? You know, and maybe I was really, maybe I, you know, I was completely wrong about her. Because it wasn't the first time that happened, you know, I'm just, you know, I have a certain ability. You know, I can see the beautiful stuff in anyone. But I can also tell you where you have problems. Like, if I have the feeling you're stuck, I can tell you, you know, I think you're stuck. And so what's my job? Well, I think it's to figure it out for myself, to just see what's happening. But, you know, sometimes you can also just be friends, right? What does it matter to me, you know, if I'm a daddy today, because I actually don't feel ready. And just because I feel like women are stressed about it, well, I could be a father in 10 years, right? It's possible. I just keep growing. I keep building my own business, because that's also partly the problem with psychedelics, because they lift your consciousness to very high up. And from very high up, it seems like, oh wow, you know, it's very close, right? It's like, oh, very close. You know, all my dreams are gonna be fulfilled tomorrow. And, you know, I've been trying that. It's not like this. What you think is gonna be right now and tomorrow needs a whole lot of work to build up. Like, you know, possibly 10 years. So who am I kidding? I'm 34. I'm like a young buck. You know, I first have to establish my own territory. And maybe I need help from other people so that I can simply continue doing what I want to do. Maybe get some rapé, go to the forest, just do my own thing. I don't know. Am I supposed to have relationships? How indebted do I have to be to a spiritual wife? Can you have sex with others? You know, I don't want to think that way. I don't even like the idea of us separating. So who am I kidding? You know, I may go and work here, but it's very possible that that's all that's gonna be. Because every woman I met until now, I basically told her that, you know, I'm already married. It's very weird. I've never done things like this. But now I have. That was me.